Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and this is the video where we take a look at the upcoming games for this week and to see if any of them are worth your time and or money. After an absolutely disastrous week where Xbox have increased prices on our Game Pass subscriptions, I think some outlook on what is upcoming may get us thinking a little bit more positively. Of course, I do hope that Xbox does revert these changes this coming week, but hey, one man can really dream. Even so, there are 15 brand new games coming to Xbox with a couple also coming to Xbox Game Pass, so let's dive right into the games coming our way. The first game today is landing on the 7th of October, and it is one game that is certainly going under the radar for many across the board. Blood of Mehran is an action-adventure game that is based on a legendary warrior Mehran, as he picks up a sword once again to take down the cruel ambitions of the others around him. I had to do a little bit more research on this one, as it does look quite incredible, and so far it's given me a sort of AA God of War vibe, similar in vein to what we saw with Echoes of the End pretty recently. You will of course have to explore the realistic recreation of ancient Mesopotamia while battling enemies in hand-to-hand combat or via stealth and ranged attacks if you prefer those other options. It does look pretty great and I'm so surprised that this game's gone so under the radar, and I can't wait to check it out for this week. Xbox Game Pass, with all of its great grandeur of significant price hikes, does look quite stacked this October, but a game that you need to keep your eye on is Little Rocket Lab, which officially arrives for this week. This game sees you playing as an aspiring engineer who essentially wants to complete their family's dream project in the form of a rocket ship, and that does require you to build different factories and contraptions, make new relationships with different locals, and so much more. Little Rocket Lab is actually coming to us from the publisher No More Robots, which typically puts a lot of its games onto Xbox Game Pass at launch, with my favourite of their titles being Descenders next. Even so, this one will still be a timed Xbox exclusive right out the gate, which is quite nice to see when I check it out for this week. I won't lie, this is definitely a week for indie games on Xbox Game Pass, and considering the updates to the price hike, I know it's not going to be worth it for many of you fans at this moment in time. One game that I was looking forward to though for a little while is called Sopa, and if you haven't heard of this one before, it is a touching narrative adventure game where you take control of a young boy named Miho. He basically goes off and explores a world of magical realism that's inspired by Latin America, where he'll have to essentially journey through enchanting landscapes, meet some quirky different characters, and also gather exotic ingredients for his grandma's soup. It really does look inspired by the whole sort of Pixar movie element, and I bet this one will definitely be a ton of fun for the younger audience. I have actually had my hands on this one for a couple of weeks now, and my review will be out shortly before its launch. King of Meat finally arrives onto Xbox this week if you didn't pre-order the game at least, and it is bringing its chaotic combat and creativity to the world of Lorgok's biggest and only TV show. In this one, you'll essentially step into the spotlight as contenders or even dungeon creators, battling for glory with combat that's easy to pick up but quite hard to master. There's everything from weapons, combos, and devastating glory moves that let you refine your own fighting style while customizing your look to stand out amongst the crowd. Beyond the combat though, you can also unleash your creativity in the dungeon builder mode, so you can design wild trap-filled stages for your friends or the community. The developers are basically saying if you can play it, then you can build it, which is kind of great to see. I'm always for these community generated experiences, as it does give these sort of games a massive sense of replayability. Yooka Replaylee is a highly anticipated remaster of Yooka-Laylee, which initially charmed its fans all the way back in 2017. This game though is like a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie and brings back that classic 3D platformer feel, and I know the series has now somewhat grown in popularity in recent years. If you're unfamiliar, you will play as Yooka, a green chameleon, and Laylee, his bat buddy, as they explore vibrant open world environments to gather collectibles and thwart Capital B's plans to take over the world. This remaster though isn't just a visual upgrade, it also adds some brand new game modes, collectibles, and an even more polished combat system. Plus, there's an entirely reworked math system that lets you track your challenges and objectives with way more precision than we saw in the original entry. It looks like a fairly decent remaster, and you can finally dive into it on the 9th of October. Next up is something truly unique, and it's known as By Sweet Carole. If you are a fan of narrative-driven horror games, then this one is for you. By Sweet Carole takes heavy inspiration from animated movies, but then combines it with horror elements, creating a dark yet beautifully eerie atmosphere. You will follow the story of Lana, a young girl that's investigating the disappearance of Carol Simmons, who's rumoured to have entered a haunted orphanage. The game is visually stunning thanks to its hand-drawn art style that looks like a vintage animation film come to life. The developers have also really committed to making every detail immersive, right down to the eerie sound design, which makes you feel like you're right there with Lana. You can actually finally try this unique horror title when it lands onto our Xbox Series consoles this week. Who doesn't love a bit of Barbie? No one? No one? No one at all? Well, if you do, then there's Barbie Horse Trails to look forward to for this week on the 10th of October. This one, of course, is a single-player open-world adventure game where you, of course, don the boots of Barbie and go about discovering wildlife, solving mysteries, and caring for your horse. This one is made by Outright Games, who do have a track record of making some quite good kid games, and I have no doubt this will be another enjoyable one for all the young Xbox gamers amongst the crowd. I do think that Game Mill and Outright Games basically create the same stuff these days, and we do have another kid-friendly edition for this week. Snoopy and the Great Mystery Club lands onto Xbox on the very same day as Barbie, so if your kids don't like Barbie, then this will obviously be the next best thing. You can put on your detective cap and join Snoopy and the gang in some all-new mysteries that are packed with delightful charm, clever puzzles, and heartwarming friendships. You can also explore the town, solve different challenging cases, and even uncover hidden secrets, all while speaking with the many guests and characters from the Snoopy universe. It does seem like quite a sweet game, but then again, I don't really know how many kids are into Snoopy these days, and with the record of Game Mill Entertainment themselves, I really don't have much hope when they publish games. Now, with the kids games out the way, we do have one of my most anticipated games of 2025 finally landing, and I'm beyond hyped for this one. Little Nightmares 3 finally comes to Xbox this week, and if you want to dive into the depths of nowhere, then this is looking bloody fantastic. For me, the biggest change has to be the addition of 2-player co-op for the very first time, and after playing the very short demo on Xbox a few weeks back now, it works wonders. The 2 new characters though are called Low and Alone, and it has you running from creepy and disgusting looking residents as you try to escape nowhere at all costs. As it is a Little Nightmares game though, it's going to be insanely creepy and really builds up the tension with tons of atmosphere and awful looking enemies. I can't wait, but it's not the only Little Nightmares game that we're getting this week. That's right, the very next day we are getting an enhanced version of the original Little Nightmares. This new version, aptly named Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition, is now bringing higher resolutions, improved graphics with volumetric lighting and more particles, along with ray tracing with real-time reflections and a more refined 60 FPS experience. This really is bringing everything to further immerse you in a world where your lighter will be the only trusted ally against the shadows. The best thing is that you can actually start playing this brand new version as of right now if you did pre-order Little Nightmares 3, which is a fantastic bonus for all of us fans. Before we do dive into the other games for this week, please do consider subscribing down below for more Xbox content every single day. This is a completely independent Xbox channel run by myself, and all the support is massively appreciated as we have such an awesome Xbox community. With that out of the way though, let's dive back into the remaining games coming our way for this week. With iRacing now at the helm and all 4 NASCAR series included, fans are buzzing this year for NASCAR 25, and the launch for any owner of the Gold Edition occurs this week. The wait for a true next-gen NASCAR experience is finally over, and after years of players actually joking that the most exciting thing in a NASCAR game was trying not to fall asleep on a long green flag run, the gameplay showings of NASCAR 25 has actually quite intrigued a lot of people out there. The previews that have been shown so far have delivered enough polish, authenticity, and detail to jolt even the most skeptical of players, with early reactions actually calling the game everything from straight cinema to the best NASCAR game of all time. I don't really know much about NASCAR because, yes, you guessed it, I'm based in the United Kingdom, but if you are interested, this one lands on the 10th of October. My most anticipated game finally lands this week, and I know many of you will be diving into this one straight away. Battlefield 6 of course needs absolutely no introduction on this list today, and the game absolutely smashed records during its open beta period and has decimated any hype that's surrounding Call of Duty for this year. This is actually the first time we're getting a full-length story campaign, if you of course exclude the war stories from BF1 and 5, and although reviews are mixed about the campaign so far, the multiplayer is going to be the absolute highlight of the entire package. After spending way too many hours in the open beta myself, I have to say that Battlefield is finally back, and is looking insane with all the destruction and gameplay that we've wanted since Battlefield 4. I do want to know though if you're going to be diving into Battlefield 6 down below, and also join our Discord server if you do want to squad up for some cracking gameplay. If Little Nightmares 3 isn't doing it for you for this week, then a Thailand-based developer called Werebuff Studios are launching their first title, and it's called Kumarn: The Wandering Spirits. This one is an atmospheric horror adventure game based on Thai folklore, and it's looking bloody fantastic. As I mentioned, this one is inspired by games like the Little Nightmares series, meaning it is a single-player experience where you play as a lost spirit and as faithful zebra steed, and you'll be searching for a brand new home. It is spread across 6 chapters, telling a story that's steeped in Thai folklore through minimal direct storytelling and utilising environmental design and terrifying art direction to pull you in. It looks absolutely horrifying, and honestly, even looks freakier than the Little Nightmares games, which seems absolutely bonkers to me. If you are interested, it does launch at a relatively low price point and lands onto Xbox on the 10th of October. In case you missed it, and apart from the dreadful news over the past week, we did have a couple of larger titles that have now landed onto Xbox Game Pass, and you can start playing them right now. Hogwarts Legacy was the first game to drop, and for me, this was always a must-play title and one that I did adore as a Potterhead myself. This one, of course, is set before the films, and as you take control of your very own students, and you even get to choose the house you get assigned to. It is an open world RPG with a great story, but the big standout is how accurately Hogwarts and the surrounding areas are, and they look bloody fantastic. It's one that I do highly recommend, and it's now available on both Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Premium tiers. Then we have Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and it seems as though the leaks were correct for this one as it's finally arrived onto Xbox Game Pass. This game offers simple 2.5D straightforward platforming with a lot of dynamic action, and it's actually quite good fun, and that's actually coming from someone who's never been a fan of Metroidvanias. You will be running, jumping, wall running, and manipulating time to dodge traps and defeat enemies, making for some pretty satisfying gameplay. The game also does feature a beautiful art style, and although it is a step away from the traditional Prince of Persia games of old, it's one that I do highly recommend. So, are you going to be diving into Battlefield 6 this week, or is there another game that you're interested in playing? You'll have to let me know down below. Do remember to like this video if you did enjoy, and subscribe down below as it really helps me out. Again, I am an independently run Xbox channel, and all the support is massively appreciated considering the dreadful news that we did receive from Xbox over this past week. If you are interested in seeing more Xbox content now, why don't you check out the video on screen now. We recently had 16 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games that have been announced and updated, and there's a ton of games that you definitely will look forward to.